Hello, in this episode of World of Warships we are going to be looking at the Wix, the American Tier 3 destroyer. And I'm going to start off by saying that this is actually an odd little ship. Mainly because it's not that huge an improvement over the Samson at Tier 2. How about we just start at the top. The Wix, when full upgrade, gets 8,900 combat capacity, whereas I believe the Samson gets a bit more than that at about 9,100. Yes, it gets 9,100 combat capacity. The arm is pretty comparable on them, I can't actually look it up at the moment. The Wix and the Samson, they get the exact same main armament, in that they get the 402mm guns. But I think the Wix guns are slightly better placed, as in these side guns have slightly better firing arcs, and they can also shoot a little bit further, so in that sense the Wix armament is a slight improvement over the Samson. In terms of torpedoes, I'd actually argue that the Wix's torpedoes are worse than the Samson's. They get the same 4.5km range, which was the big weakness on the Samson, and they're also actually slower, the torpedoes, so they are a bit easier for enemy ships to dodge. The one advantage the Wix has in torpedoes is that instead of having 4 on a broadside, it's now got 6 on a broadside. So when they do, or when a broadside hits, it does a bit more damage, but as you said, you still have to get really close to use them, and they are easy to dodge. AA guns, nothing to talk about there really, on either ship. The big improvement the Wix has over the Samson is that, well, it's 4 knots faster, which is pretty, well, it's noticeable. What's really noticeable is the rudder shift time has dropped from about 5 seconds down to 3.5 seconds, which means that it's quite easy to dodge enemy fire in this ship. Concealability, it's still, well, 6.7 kilometers concealability isn't actually bad, or detectability range. It's just not anywhere near good enough when you have a 4.5km torpedo range. Basically, unless you can put an island in between yourself and the enemy, you're always going to be spotted when you launch your torpedoes, and it means you'll probably, well, at least have a very good chance of dying if you're going up against a battleship or a cruiser. Anyway, that's enough of that, and let's get into some gameplay. This first game I'm going to show you, it's a pretty typical one for a Wix, which is to say, well, I'll be blunt, I don't manage to get any torpedoes on target this whole game because I struggle to get close enough to enemy ships, but I do manage to do a fair bit of damage with my guns, which that's actually what the American destroyers really excel at. They are really more gunships than torpedo boats, I should say. Just got to use your guns kind of wisely, use them in situations where it's ideally not going to get you killed. Anyway, I was thinking about charging into the cap there, since destroyers are the best at sneakily capping and putting pressure on the enemy, but I decided to stick with this little force of cruisers and destroyers we have going up the western side of the map here, just because we are quite likely to bump into enemy destroyers over here, and killing enemy destroyers is really what American destroyers excel at. Well, basically because destroyers are about the only ships that have few enough hit points that you can actually kill them pretty quickly with one of these. And American destroyers have really good turret traverses and manoeuvrability, so they can dodge torpedoes and continue to put pressure on enemy destroyers. And an enemy destroyer has been spotted off to the left there, in the smoke. It's a Minakaze, which is a Tier 5 Japanese destroyer. Like all Japanese destroyers, it's got weak guns, but very powerful torpedoes and very long range. Take a few shots blind there, but no luck. Where is it now? Oh, it turned. Get some hits on it, do 1,000 damage. And, well, it's sunk by torpedoes from that cruiser by the looks of it. Another destroyer is just over here. but well, the island's in the way, so I'm not quite going to be able to get shots on that guy. That's right hit. Oh, but the torpedoes from that, well, this destroyer I'm chasing now managed to sink our cruiser. And I actually got a hit there, so doing alright. Second on the stab at it. Oh, we got another one. See, the guns on this ship are actually very accurate, so if you can, if you know how to lead your targets, you can get very high accuracy in destroyers. You see, I actually managed to set that enemy ship on fire, which does a lot of damage. Destroyer guns, they have a very low chance of setting things on fire, but the fires are just as deadly as
anti-aircraft guns and secondary armament disabled.
I went and turned off my anti-aircraft guns so I don't want to be spotted by enemy aircraft, but it's actually kind of pointless in the Wix because enemy aircraft will spot you before your AA guns are arranged to fire anyway. So it really makes no difference when you have your AA guns on or off. Unless you're hiding in smoke, that is. Oh, I managed to miss a salvo there, which is unfortunate because it's getting close enough that I can kill it with a hit or two. Missed again. Those ones look good. One hit, not enough to kill it though. And there it goes, my teammate got it. Okay, cruiser, it's in 4.2 kilometers range, and it's a St. Louis, so it's slow, but I think it'll still outrun my torpedoes. I'm just not quite close enough. As my torpedoes will go 4.5 kilometers, but by that point the St. Louis will be more than 4.5 kilometers away, I imagine. I was going to have a go at it, but my teammate kills it before I get a chance. And now we have an enemy battleship. And since I'm spotted, I decide I'm just going to shoot at it anyway. It's not shooting at me, although its guns are pointing at me. So while I'm shooting, I'm actually also turning my ship towards it, just to minimise my profile in case it does actually decide to start shooting at me. But it doesn't get a chance, since I managed to steal the kill off somebody there. We see a Congo-class battleship coming at me. Now, so I'm going to try and ambush it from behind this island. I'm just going to be a bit iffy though whether I can actually get it in range without exposing myself. But hopefully I can. The other issue is there's lots of friendly ships around here, and I want to have a clear line of fire when I go to drop my torpedoes. So it's just outside of torpedo range now, but it's actually turning away from, well, it's not turning away from me, it's turning away from my friendly destroyer a couple of kilometres in front of me. Which means that, well, I'm probably not going to get torpedo hits from the ambush position. So I decide to fire at the aircraft carrier while it's there. And my teammate kill it. And I'm feeling pretty confident that I'll be able to hit the battleship there, but well, I'm also not so sure I won't be able to hit my ally ship if I do miss. So I decide to go in a bit closer since the Congo's not really shooting at me. Secondary armament is though. And I decide not to take the shots with my torpedoes, instead switch to my guns. Just to try and build a bit of pressure onto the Congo. And, well, my allies sink it again. It's happened a lot in this game. I probably would have been fine firing my torpedoes there, but I didn't want to risk sinking the ally. That Congo was probably going to die anyway. I managed to get a hit on that aircraft carrier, although it was poor shooting. It's also at my maximum range, so I can't really aim enough. But the enemy ship died. Again. I've done alright so far. I've got 19 hits. And, well, a set of fire, which will give me a bit of extra damage. And it all adds up, so I'm doing alright. Just disappointed, I haven't really had a chance to fire any torpedoes yet, since that's what's really does the damage when you're in a destroyer. Okay. Ships in range, it's Yubari, which is a very dangerous cruiser. And it got sunk by my allies' torpedoes. And here's a battleship in range that's shooting at me, so I wiggle a bit, but it was unnecessary since the shells sprayed everywhere but at me. I do a bit of damage there, get 2 hits. Those shots I thought would probably miss, but they might hit the superstructure, and I got lucky there. And so now this is a good opportunity to ambush it, because we'll probably be about 3 kilometers away when I fire my torpedoes, which will make it very difficult for the ship to dodge. But I decided to be a bit more conservative and fire them a bit further away than I need to. See the enemy ship slowing, so I aim a bit in front of it. And then I switch to my guns as I see it's not looking at me. And now I'm firing my full broadside of 3 guns, and now it has turned to look at me. So I've turned my smoke on, but it actually probably wasn't. It was probably just its turrets auto-rotating towards me. But unfortunately the enemy ship slows down, so all of my torpedoes miss. As I see, because these torpedoes are so slow, they are very easy to dodge. Got one more hit there, but it did no damage, which is a bit odd for high explosive shells. Again, no damage. But the that enemy ship's destroyed, and that's us winning the game. So 43,000 credits and 1,600 experience. Not a lot of credits, but I got a lot of experience, which is pretty typical in a destroyer. Just because I didn't do that much damage. 4th best on my team with 1 kill. And if we go just to the next screen, we'll see that I actually, my damage add up there. I basically did about my hit points and damage despite not landing any torpedoes, and a little bit of extra there from fire was what really made it equal. But that's kind of a typical kind of game I get in the Wix, that I try using my torpedoes, but opportunities are kind of few and far between. This game I'm showing you because I actually do manage to land some torpedo hits, but actually I suppose it's an alright game. It's about the same as the last one in terms of end results. So in domination map mode, Destroyer's first task is of course to capture the capture points. As I said in the last video, this is easily the best ship class for that job, since it's fast, you get there quickly, and it's also very stealthy, so enemies will have a hard time spotting it. And the smokescreen function also allows it to withdraw if the situation is not to its advantage. I was thinking of going at A, but then I see a bunch of friendly ships going there, so I decided I'll head to B instead, since, well, cruisers can't really take A since it's quite exposed. Well, they can try, but they'll probably get gunned down by destroyers hiding behind the islands. And not destroyers, battleships hiding behind the islands. Just keeping an eye out for enemy ships, but don't see any yet, so I've got a pretty clear run into B, it looks like. Although really it's too to tell, it just tells me that there's no battleships heading in to kill me, but there could be destroyers hiding around here. There's enemy aircraft which could spot me, but it looks like they'll go cross in front of me. And it also looks like I'm going to be the first one to be. I changed my course a bit just to avoid those dive bombs.
Anti-aircraft guns and secondary armament disabled.
Just in case they did happen to spot me. Or actually, I suppose to minimise the chances of them spotting me. And I was the first ship to B, which means there probably aren't enemy destroyers around here either. No, it looks like I've got this bit to myself. I see this enemy battleship, which I thought was going to come charging into B to try and contest it from me. And I thought it would be a good opportunity to kind of sneak up and ambush it. But I'm not sure, simply because if I do ambush it, it would put me so far away from my team and quite near the enemy team.
The enemy team has taken the lead.
I decided I'd have a go at it. I captured the base, which is the main thing here. But those dive bombers are coming right at me, and they've spotted me, so I decided to break off and try and disengage. And I'm taking fire, and I got set on fire as well. So I've got my smoke screen up, and I'm just going to focus on getting out of here.
Started.
As I said, attacking that battleship wasn't a great idea to start with, so I have no problem with trying to run away here. But unfortunately the dive bombers are sticking just above me, and they keep spotting me for enemy ships to fire at. Not that any are, but I was worried they would at the time. So what I'm thinking now is we're going to head to A and try and contest that cap where there are enemy destroyers, or an enemy destroyer. And I'm actually feeling pretty comfortable now that I'm in a position where I can fire at this destroyer and not be destroyed by those enemy cruisers and battleships. Let's get one hit, do a bit of damage, but this guy's already taken a beating from my team. Fire some more, but the enemy ship has gone, and will I miss? So I decided to take a few shots at this cruiser since it's there. And will I miss again, which is a bit odd. But it looks like it turned pretty sharply, so not to be expected. But I didn't really have high hopes for that shot hitting, so I'm not surprised it didn't. We spotted the destroyer again, so I'm back firing at it since it's my main objective here. Get one hit on it, it's on very low health, so I'll take some blind shots where I think it'll be. And I managed to sink it.
Enemy destroyer foundered.
So that's good. Turn back to focus on this cruiser. But well, the island's just kind of blocking my shots there. So I instead decide I'm going to head out and try and kill that battleship. Simply because I thought it was distracted by friendly ships, but it turns out it wasn't. But anyway, I decided to do that, then I saw that this cruiser kind of got itself stuck, so I decided to put a few shots in before I head out. Not that these shots are doing particularly a lot of damage, but every little bit helps. And my team managed to kill it. And unfortunately, because I delayed a bit there, it allowed the battleship to escape. I also see these dive bombers coming in, and I didn't think they were actually coming for me, but I decided that in case they were, I'll turn broadside on to make it hard for them to hit me, which means I can't take the most direct route I want to the battleship. And it turns out they are actually coming for me, and they managed to wreck my engine there, which I repair. Which is kind of stupid, because a second salvo of dive bombers come in.
Problem solved, sir.
But I get lucky that their shots don't do any real damage. And now I'm free to try and chase after this battleship, which is kind of a stupid idea now. I mean, it's in open seas, there's nowhere for me to hide other than using my smoke screen. And at the moment it's distracted by the battleship behind me, but if it does spot me and start shooting at me, it could kill me fairly easily. Or well, it would be the easiest the battleship could ever kill a destroyer, which is to say I've still got a decent chance of doing it. But I've just got to get very close to it to fire my torpedoes, which is basically the only way I'm going to kill this guy. And I've got no cover to get close to it. So it's actually in range now, but I'm not firing since that will give my position away, and I don't want to give it any opportunity to fire at me that I don't have to. And I'm thinking this is kind of okay. It's obviously shooting at a friendly ship at very long range at B, so hopefully it's just not at all paying attention to me or what's going on around here. But I've been spotted by its scout plane. Side to side. Have a look around. And well, it's not spotted me anymore. It didn't really make any effort to look at me or fire at me, which makes me suspect that it is actually kind of tunnel visioned on that friendly ship, so I can approach it quite safely, or relatively safely, without running too much risk, so long as I don't really fire my guns.
Anti-aircraft guns and secondary armament disabled.
I see some dive bombers though. They obviously did spot me, so they're coming towards me. Or at least I thought they were, but they're flying behind me. Although they have spotted me now, which is unfortunate. And I figure I'm close enough that I can actually fire at this battleship. Although do see me think about it there, because I'm thinking, well, if it sees us coming on fire, it might start paying attention to me. But I thought it was already kind of turning towards me, which is why I chose to fire there as opposed to not. It fires a full broadside at me, which I'm able to dodge. And now we've just got to try and get within torpedo range of it, while not getting hit. Managed to start a fire, which is excellent because fires will do a lot of damage. And just keep in mind, oh, we managed to start a second fire, which is even better. And I'm just firing this one front gun because I want to keep my bow towards the ship to try and minimise my profile, and also get as close to it as possible as I can. I turn broadside on to the dive bombers to try and, well, if they don't dive at me, give them a bit of a harder job. But I see the battleships turn back towards me, which means I'm going to try and turn into it to try and avoid its shots, which I suspect are about to come. And here they are. So again, I turn into them, and I manage to dodge them all. And now we're actually just out of my torpedo range, and it's turning towards me, so I decide I can try to fire a broadside at it, but for some reason I thought it straightened out, so I kind of shoot those torpedoes in a spot where it's not going to be. Now this is a tricky situation because I can either close in and fire my other side torpedoes, which I decide to do, but that will bring me very, very close to this battleship and well within range of its secondary guns. But I decided I was going to try and do it because we're basically one anyway. Fire 3 torpedoes, but I don't actually get a chance to get my other 3 off. And those 3, they do a fair bit of damage, but not anywhere near enough to actually sink the battleship. Although they do destroy its engines, which means that it's kind of not quite dead in the water, but it's going to move very slowly. And now it's just fighting the 2 battleships that I was hoping would distract enough for me to close in and get the kill. But in the end, the secondary fire of the Congo battleship was just too much for my weak little destroyer. Which I suppose is fair enough. I mean, this is a tier 3 destroyer and that's a tier 5 battleship I was trying to sneak up on and kill. Oh, shall we just watch battleships duke it out? See, we're firing at very long range, so actually no, that's not that long range at all. They should be hitting me pretty regularly, especially since its engine's destroyed, so they know it can't move very fast at all. Oh no, its engine's in fact fixed now, so might be a bit harder to hit. This actually isn't looking that good for our friendly battleship there. That's a Myogi, a tier 4 battleship, which isn't the best battleship in the game by a long way. Whereas the Congo I was fighting is an excellent battleship. And our other friendly battleships actually sailed behind an island, so it can't support it right now. It looks like the Congo's actually got a faster rate of fire as well, which I didn't think was the case. The Byogi's doing a bit of damage, although it's lost half of its health, but there it looks like it got a Citadel hit and the Congo's almost destroyed. Looks like one more hit will do it. But that hit's just not coming. Oh, there we go. I was avenged. And as you see, we're about to win the game. Only got to get to 1,000 points and we're on 915. But there's not much else to see, so we'll just skip right to the end. Got 47,000 credits because I did more damage, but less experience because I didn't do all that much, really. Kind of in the middle of my team, which it's alright because it was a tier 5 game and I'm in a tier 3 destroyer, so I'm okay with that. See, the interesting thing there is I hit 21 shots with my HE shells, and I actually did more damage with the 2 fires I started on that battleship than I did with all the shells hitting themselves. And of course twice as much from those 3 torpedoes that hit. So, yes, that's the Wix class destroyer. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all next time.